Now, if that's not the most cutest abandoned rake. A poorly coiled hose. Damn, the clamp is solid. I can't get the hose off. Now let's see what's in it. I always keep this photo on me. It's supposed to remind me what I'm grafting for every day, fulfilling my childhood dream of owning a pretty little white sailboat. I never actually have a lot of cash on me. I'll just pick up the €2 coin and stick it in my sailboat piggy bank. That's for the locker at the airport where I've stashed my travel luggage. Globetrotters like my humble self prefer electronic means of payment. A rake. A plastic box. That's what comes from leaving your tools lying around. A solid pair of head shears of the manual variety. Some parts of Germany have yet to discover electricity. These work gloves are at least 3 sizes too big for my delicate hands. Waltz into the building through the main entrance? The doorman would chuck me straight out. There's gotta be some more subtle way in there. Freedom for garden hoses. The window on the upper floor is open. Low walls, okay. 2 stories? Nope. I'm not a world-class free climber. The gardener would appear to give the weekend a higher priority than tidying up his tools. Good man. The perfect entry assistance. That's a horse chestnut. It was Tree of the Year in 2005. How do I know that? It says so on the little sign. The sign is fastened to the tree with 4 screws. Nothing's gonna happen without some tools. An empty wallet. I'll tie the hose as tightly as I can to the rake. Who needs a bolt cutter when head shears can do the job just as well? I've cut through the chains. Unfolded, the ladder is certainly long enough, but it's too flimsy to put weight on. I'll push the rake through both legs of the ladder and secure the whole thing with the garden hose. That is a sturdy ladder. Well done, Sam. Climbing through windows. A real cat burglar, me. Look, the coast is clear. Here's a box of empty file folders. Empty files. Useless. Professor Hartman's office. Won't open. A snack machine. Each of these little calorie bombs costs a cool $1.99. No dough, no go. You only live once. I'll take a bag of crackers. My snack, and 1 cent change. Spicy crackers. I'll hang on to this snack for later. And there it is, the exception to the rule. You don't always find something useful in waste bins. Not Professor Hartman's office. Not Professor Hartman's office. this old trick might actually work. Or then again, maybe not. The idea's right, but the plastic money didn't take the strain. The 1-cent coin is thin enough to unscrew it. Amazeballs! Ugh, I have sunk to a new low. That'll work. I'll bet my sailboat on it. Phew. Okay, Sam. Find the damn info on where our perfidious professor's gone off to. And then maybe, just maybe, you'll get your story, a pay rise, and that nice little sailboat you're dreaming of. The cliche that professors are not exactly neat freaks might well hold true. But surely this is taking it to the next level. Hartman really must have left in a hurry. A stack of homework, botany books, and writing materials. Thanks, but I don't think that they're gonna help me right now. There are some scraps of torn up paper on the top. There's some torn up paper on the top. I'll take a closer look. A ripped up fax. Now let's see if I can put this back together. This expedition party sent him a fax. They've discovered some hitherto unknown species. Great, but where, for heaven's sake? Unfortunately, there's only a code here. GHN 7531. But maybe that'll help me further. From algae to zygopetalum, there's everything a botanist's heart could desire here. Files with details of students' projects and the prof's expeditions. Maybe I'll find a clue here. These files all have GHN on them. This file is marked GHN 7520 to GHN 7535. It ought to contain notes from the current expedition. Bingo. GHN 7531. The expedition has gone to Ghana, to Lake Basomtwi. So what the hell are they looking for there? Basomtwi lies in the meteorite crater in Ghana's Ashanti region. It's 8 kilometers in diameter, about 80 meters deep, and doesn't have an outflow. The ecosystem and the lake are endemic, meaning there are lots of plant and animal varieties that are unique to that location. The priority is investigating the effects on the ecosystem of a massive meteorite strike. What's that on the fax? The expedition has discovered some previously unknown organism. If the story's big enough to pull the professor away with such short notice, perhaps it's big enough to buy me a boat. Let's hit the trail for Ghana and Lake Basomtwi. The flight to Accra via Amsterdam was pretty fuss-free, but the in-flight food was crappy. as expected. I was able to revive myself with some traditional foo-foo and a few Gordon Sparks in a chop shop before a bush pilot flew me into an airfield by Lake Bosomtwi. With a bit of luck, I'll be at the base camp in a few hours. Looks like everyone upped and left in the night. Strange. I've got goosebumps all of a sudden, despite the heat. I'm getting something of a horrible feeling here. I'd better get a move on so I can reach the Lake Bosomtwi camp before nightfall. Lemonade. Sweet as shit and warm to boot. But even ice cold, it's not an option. If I want to avoid doing my figure some real harm. Well, okay, I'll take it with me. But be aware that this is non-alcoholic piss water. Airport terminal, Africa style. A little bit too rustic for my taste. Where's the air-conditioned bar and duty-free shop? I should maybe give it a test. Come, gather round, and have the piss taken out of you by a crazy lady with a megaphone. Ooh, I like it. Hey, Dixie. Now what would those Southerners say if they knew there was a mobile toilet named after their hymn? Holy shit. If a dead fish and a tramp had a baby and the baby threw up into a dog's mouth, the dog's end product would smell better than this toilet does. Even if I had to, I would not go in there. Camp lies northeast from here. That's where we want to be headed. Where's that perverse stink coming from? Oh, right. Pumbaa. They may be cute in cartoon form, but in the real world, those warthog tusks should not be underestimated. Okay, away we go. Sing Hakuna Matata for me then! Since we don't know each other all that well, I'm gonna be keeping my distance, okay? As long as that hog's eyeballing me, I really don't give a damn about the tree trunk. I think it'd take something a bit heftier. It's certainly seen better days. Yarr! Sorry. It's screwed tightly to the column. The pocket knife only has this one blade, but it's extremely versatile. I can unscrew screws with it, for example. Large scratches torn into the wood. Must have been something considerably bigger than the cat over there. So what do you need a megaphone for in the jungle? Believe it or not, there are people who don't carry such things in their inventory, but actually wear them on their heads. So sad. I'll pull out a thread. In fact, this cap is such a waste of space, I'll throw the rest away. A coat hook, without a coat, and made from metal. This is where my exceptional capabilities in the tying of seaman's knots come into play. And to what should I now tie the hook? The craft of writing my ass. A voice recorder gets a more natural interview every time. Sits around all day, probably shows up for food and fondling. Men. Just two admittedly unfortunate words. Cat allergy. Hello, Mr. Kitty. How about an interview? Thank you for the profound discussion. I'll hold the megaphone close to the voice recorder speaker. A limp sock. Reminds me of my ex. You know what? Enough of that. Looks like a reliable enough contraption. It clamps 2 ropes together. Okay, I've caressed the screws. Now what? Crates of provisions. Well, I'm not gonna starve to death here, that's for sure. I'm not that hungry yet. Perhaps the pig's got a cat allergy as well. Pity. Apparently not. Hell, they've seen better days. Now then, any juice left in these at all? Look like they've been used. Now I'll put the used batteries into the voice recorder. Perhaps the pig's got a cat allergy as well. Success. I don't need a walking stick quite yet, but hey, you never know. Straight and long. Could be useful. Ants. I must have scared them up. I can't get at them with my bare hands. Just like in the adventure movies. So, what do we have? Great. The guide rope on the right-hand side of the bridge is broken. That's all I need. I can't get across with it like that. I need to repair the rope first. There's a tool bag hanging down there. I hope nobody left it there when they took the express route to the bottom. The bag's hanging too low. I can't reach it. The thread is A, too short, and B, too thin. One long hook thing coming right up. Come to mama. A prime example of a professional bodge job. It's really quite miraculous that this has stood here as long as it has. Unfortunately, I can't do much here with just my bare hands, other than strangle people with dumb ideas. Well, what have we got here then? A very soft pencil, a 7B, a broad paintbrush, a typical pocket tape measure. Looks like a wrench, and in fact is a wrench. Nothing left in it. The wrench fits. Now let's just hope the mast doesn't fall when I remove the connector. How about that? Rope connector gone, mast still standing. A woman needs a little luck sometimes. Let's see. This can't be all that difficult. That ought to hold. I'm supposed to completely destroy this delicate bond with the wrench? I'd rather not. Whoa, what a mess. Who did this? Hello? Professor Hartman? Strange. No one here. What the hell happened? I ought to take a look around. It's a motion sensor. I ought to leave the stand where it is. There's a fireplace here, but it's stone cold. Old ashes and stones. Won't be attracting much interest on the local real estate market. Trespassing here is not prohibited, just impossible. Dry wood. Should burn well. It's like the hut was cleaned out by a tornado. That tipped-over locker seems to be the only thing that hasn't been smashed or squashed. I'll pass. My delicate little fingers are not going in there just yet. Unfortunately, nothing usable within reach of the hook. Interesting storage method. That's how you keep your grub away from the hungry fauna. If I had a jetpack, then maybe. I'm not all that sure I'm going to be able to use the winch with that dodgy hook. The wrench fits, but I don't have enough muscle power. The winch isn't moving an inch. The floorboards look pretty rotten. You want me to get a wood splinter? Even if the floorboards look rotten, you need something a little more heavy-duty than a manicured fingernail. A pipe. That's all I have to say about that. I'm not gonna get the metal locker open with that. I would need either an oversized tin opener, or, to keep it simple, the key. What I'd really like to know is what threw this great big locker all over the place. The wrench fits inside the pipe. The laws of leverage are your friends. I'm so excited. There must be something really cool in there. My favorite occupation, plundering. Mostly fruit and veg. I'll leave that here and take everything else. A sleeping bag. Cuddly, warm, but also an accurate description of my ex-boyfriend. A small metal key. The mobile solar charger has to be assembled before it can be used. Bearing in mind I don't like puzzles, I've rather nailed that one, haven't I? Aha! It fits. Another movement sensor. A laptop for outdoor use. Fully ruggedized. Well, it survived whatever hit the hut completely unscathed. A first aid box. How useful. A letter? The professor received this letter from his wife on their wedding anniversary. Turns out married, middle-aged people have very little of interest to say to one another. A genuine sun trap. According to the sticker, that's Professor Hartman's laptop. Sadly, though, the battery's flat. I'll connect the solar charger to the laptop. I'll put the laptop and the solar charger here in the sun. The laptop's protected by a code. No saved mail. And if I was going to send or receive any, then I'd also need an internet connection. Looks like some kind of diary. Sounds promising. Viruses that are responsible for evolutionary leaps? That story would be an absolute scoop. Now, is there any truth to these ghost stories? Shit. Looks like it's quite possible they're close by here. I need to be careful. At least I now know where I can find the professor. Only now all that's missing is any clue to where this Christian mission is. This is where Hartman saved the pictorial info from the current expedition. Even the most ambitious scientist has to switch off every now and then. Can't wait to see what kind of music the prof's into. No forecast without the internet. And I don't need a laptop to see how the weather is right now. The map of the camp. This sensor has a working range of 120 degrees. This sensor has a working range of 75 degrees. This sensor has a working range of 120 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. This sensor has a working range of 75 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. A sensor with a working range of 90 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. On the sensor it says, the working range of this sensor is I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. Looks like the sensors are set up according to plan.